taxes, inflation, and the breakdown of the family are causing us to fall behind. We have the lowest net worth in the United States, and I'm sure those numbers cross the border as well.
Some people get the disability tax credit and they don't open the registered disability savings fund, and that's where the government puts in all the money of grants and bonds for a person with a disability who has done all the steps. Some people don't do all the steps.
Good morning, everybody. Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show, the home of Epic Conversations, and I'm the host of Epic Conversations 2020. Why don't I go 2020 first? 2018 Innovation Award given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. 2020 Best Podcast News Award winner given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. I also co-host and co-produce the only online show in the world for dads and fathers, sponsored by Dove Men Plus Care. And being part of that team, we've reached out directly and indirectly to over 400,000 dads, fathers, and male caregivers around the world. And as always, I like to say you're blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem. We're broadcasting live November 8th. And in Toronto, the weather's not bad for this time of year. It's fall-like. Unfortunately, I've got a pile of leaves. Like this time of year, it just seems like raking leaves is never ending. And I don't have any trees on my property. But my next door neighbor to my left and another neighbor across the street have big, huge trees. So when it gets windy, guess who gets all the leaves to rake? So I don't know if anyone else can relate with that situation. But yeah, I've got leaves to rake that are not mine. So, hey, what can I do? What can I say? But it's good exercise. For those who know, usually they're my partner in this endeavor, Ryan O'Neill Knight. He says he may drop in halfway through the show. So if you don't see Ryan, he's busy with stuff. Already got our first comment. Minnie on cam says, leaves blow around. And she says also leaves. Yes, I get leaves on balcony from trees. Wow. On your balcony? Woo. All right. So let's get some house stuff done. Subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube and hit the notification button. We're now past 1,590 subscribers on YouTube, so thank you very much for doing that. And share it out, and tell people about it. Would love to get them to subscribe. Also, follow the Dr. Vibe Show on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. Also, if you want to advertise your business, product, or service on any of the platforms that I appear on, please email me dr.vibe at the dr.vibe.show.com. Also, join our Discord group. And I've been lax. I've really got to post replays of previous epic conversations of the Morning Vibe in our Discord group. So hold me to it. By Monday, for sure, you'll see a bunch, because late this afternoon, I'm just going to sit back in front of my laptop and just start reposting. Also, we're also good friends collaborating with Indie Soup Media, which is an independent content creators platform powered by our good friend, Dr. Tachi, out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, with over 40 independent content creators, and in about 8 months, over 20,000 YouTube subscribers. So a few things that are coming up on this Monday's show, Carolyn Nicole, certified holistic nutritionist, and also part owner of Energy Shack Juice Bar, will be making her regular monthly appearance, and she'll be talking about consistency. She's you're going to learn the tools to make healthy eating, exercise, and lifestyle habits a permanent way of life. So mark that in your calendars. It's already up on my Facebook page, my YouTube page, my link. No, it's not. It's actually, let me correct myself. It'll be up later on today. So if you're subscribing, you will get notified about that stuff. I got another comment up here. JJ Mars, good morning, Dr. Vibe. So JJ Mars, you and I called it. So everybody, how are you feeling after the election of 45, now to be 45 and 47 in America? So a lot of interesting takes on it, a lot of interesting feedback on it. And our friend today will be giving some takes on it, and specifically giving some, I guess it would be best way, marching orders to Blacks and those who love them post that election. So what is everyone's thought on that? What's everyone's thought on the elections? And while you're putting comments in, if you're watching live or even on the replay, yesterday I was at an event called Black Future, which is I can't say the name right of the organization, so I won't butcher it, but it's a big tech expo, job expo. If you're looking for jobs in the tech industry, it's specifically aimed to blacks who are looking for jobs. And there were about 40 different companies out there, and I'm not putting them in any sort of order. There are people like BMO out there, TD Canada Trust, Scotiabank, PricewaterhouseCoopers. I don't remember any of them. I was not out there looking for a job. I just went out there, ran into some people. So ran into Wayne Harris. So if people know about the Morning Vibe or follow it, Wayne Harris is on every first Friday of each month on the Morning Vibe, First Financial Fridays. Walked into a gentleman named Mark Lewis. Hadn't seen him in years. And he's very much in the IT sector, and ran into a Radcliffe Dockery. I don't know at least 7-8 years. So ran into some people I had not seen for a long time. Checked out one or two presentations from stage, and I was out of there. And I know there was a big after party last night with Ja Rule. I had things to do. Actually, some things that you will be seeing in the next week or two. 100%. So JJ Marr says 45 and 47 second term will be more chaotic. Yeah, I actually saw a post this morning or a story this morning, someone saying, yeah, the Project 2025 is going, you believe it, it's going to be, and there are Republicans saying it is going to be part of 47's second term. So, and I know there's like a significant African-American journalist, Roland Martin, who was doing a lot of media stuff on his platform before Kamala Harris, and he's now coined this hashtag we told you so. And what he means by that is all the people who voted for 45, who's now going to be 47, when they get hit by his policies and people come, we're just going to say, hey, we told you so. We told you so. Hey, Fitness IQ Cam says, good morning. I actually had she allowed me to be part of her 200th show last Saturday, and it was quite an interesting conversation. So thanks for allowing me on, and definitely check out Things I Knew About Money on Saturday afternoons on her YouTube platform. So go to Fitness IQ Cam on YouTube. But what are people thinking? Like, I wasn't surprised. If you follow the Dr. Vibe show, we did a 4-hour live watch party this past Tuesday during the conversation. And of course, another conversation I do live primetime Saturday with Aisha and Lala. Tomorrow night, the ladies are going in, but it's a few days after, and there are already articles about, oh, Ms. Harris didn't do this, Ms. Harris didn't do that. So the knives are already out. So I have a feeling in America, especially, you're going to see Republican rule for a long time in the White House. And realize, and I don't know if the House has been declared yet, but the Senate is now run by the Republicans. So the White House and the Senate, if the House goes to Republicans also, you're going to see all three federal levels of government controlled by one party. For those who are into money, stock markets went up in the United States. So it's all over the place. Surprised no one else is really making comments about this. Quiet. People are so a lot of people, but in my mind, it's really, really interesting. The support that 45, who's now 47, got from non-melanated women. Okay, so Minion Cam says, my work colleagues in the USA are upset over it, but I told them moving to Canada is not better. We have no housing or health care. Well, we have better health care than they do. I will say that. We have better health care than they do. And I think there is, especially if you're melanated like myself and others, I think you may be a little bit safer in Canada, maybe at the present time, but who knows? But there's also a federal election coming up in Canada next year. JG Marr says, Democratic Party is in shambles. Some Black Americans are talking about establishing their own independent party. Definitely. Minion Cam says we have a primary doctor shortage. Yes, we do. But the thing in the United States, they may not have a shortage, but you pay through the nose to get medical care in the United States. So I guess there's if and and. But yeah, JG Mars saying Democratic Party, yeah, it's in shambles. They don't know what's going on, which way is up. They're going to have to do a long debrief on this. A long debrief, and who's going to be a future leader. Also, it brings the question, is America ready for a female president? 45 beat Hillary Clinton. 45 has beaten Kamala Harris. Anytime a lady has run for president, it hasn't happened. And a lot of people are saying not even non-melanated women are in that lane. So it's more divided than ever in the United States. And hey, what can we say? All right. So since you guys are quiet, we're going to go to a break, and then we're going to bring up a friend we haven't had on for a little while because he's been very busy. He'll be catching up on some of the stuff he's been doing, and then he'll go a little bit deep dive. Mr. Perry Douglas will be back with us in just a moment.
Hey, Dr. Vibe, this is Nigel Gordyke checking in from Waterloo in Southwest Ontario. I love your show, especially how it takes conversations that we're having in the community and expands them into the broader community so more and more people can get involved and engaged. That expands on the topics and takes them to a wider audience. And it enables more of us to feel engaged and part of the community. Thank you for including me in one of those conversations recently. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. Much love.
All right, that's Nigel Gordyke, who was on just this past Monday. And if you didn't catch that conversation, go to the YouTube channel, and I will get the repeat published in our Discord group. But he was so kind to give a testimonial, and we're really happy about that. Again, Morning Vibe. So we have not chatted with Perry Douglas for a while, and he's got a lot of stuff going on. And finally, we got him to put on his brakes. And before we went on live, he said, "Oh well." He hasn't got his winter tires on yet, but he has his wife's winter tires on. So he knows who's the boss in his household. Get the winter tires on first. So let's bring back, haven't seen him a while. Always a pleasure to have him.
Hey.
Mr. Perry Douglas, what's going on?
Nothing much. Everything is good, working hard, tired, but it's all good. Rather be busy than anything else.
Well, yes. I'm one of these people. I'd rather be dead than bored.
You
know?
Exactly.
Yeah, but so what have you been up to since we last saw you? I know you've got a little bit of a venture that you are getting off the ground. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so my company, Douglas Blackwell, we've started another venture which springs off of Douglas Blackwell in the software space. And essentially the company is called 6AI Technologies. You can look it up at 6aitech.com, so 6aitech.com. But essentially what we're doing is we are looking to redesign or redefine how strategy is built in the age of AI. So as you know, there's, big consultant firms out there, doing strategy, charging you hundreds of thousands of dollars to do it. What we are doing is we're looking to build a single piece of software that allows anyone in regards to their own personal growth strategies to multi-billion-dollar strategies on a single piece of software. And it's the same thing. You subscribe to it and you move forward. If you've ever used Canva, just think about 6AI is the Canva of strategy. So, I'm just here trying to become a billionaire. You know what I mean? It's hard work.
Well, whenever I see new ideas launch, did you not see this being done in that sector and said, hey, this is where I can fit in, find the need and fill it, don't find the need and kill it?
Yeah. So yes, correct. So my company, Douglas Blackwell, we were doing this already, right, with clients, but we're doing it, how do I put it? We're doing it manually, right? So if you think about it, it's like, how do you replicate Perry and his team in a million different places at the same time? So in order to scale your business and in order to grow, right? You have to use technology. You have to turn it into software. I'm not trying to compete or build to become a PwC, McKinsey and Company, all those big organizations. So the best way to do it is to provide a piece of software where people could do it themselves without the need for any specialized training or skills. It's it's just a simple piece of software that you can use to build corporate strategy, organizational strategy, and even personal growth strategy. And we also have a section which will focus on students. A lot of students, for example, they go to school and they take traditional courses or whatnot, and they have a vision of where they want to be in the future. They want to be an engineer, they want to be this person or that person. But in reality, they don't really know where the world is going and the best opportunities are going. So for example, just imagine we would say, hey, if they use our software, they'll be able to ask particular questions and get particular responses in regards to, if, for example, there's growing demand in a particular area, and then you recognize that growing demand, then maybe you should look to build your career out, based on that demand. So it's all about finding out what you don't know. What you already know, everybody else knows. But to be successful, it's figuring out what you don't know. And when you figure out what you don't know, then you can build a tactical strategy to get there. And that's it. Yeah.
I think it builds on this. One of the things I say is the more you know, the more you need to know.
100%. And, this is one of the reasons why, in society right now is that everybody thinks they know something, right? And we focus particularly with social media, and we think we know so much based on social media. It's an inverse effect, right? So I always tell people, started with my kids, read more, know more history, right? Because everything that's happening now, you can compare it and you can find it in history. The more you focus on what everybody else is focusing on, none of these things, this is just people's views, opinions. None of it may be based in reality. So the more you engage, for example, in getting your information and getting your knowledge from social media, the greater probability of being miseducated, and the greater probability of becoming extremely mediocre, and the greater probability of not succeeding. Because think about it, if everybody is doing the same thing, right? Where's the value? Great success and companies come because they can offer, a unique value proposition. But if you're following the herd is an ignorant herd, and you're not going to succeed. So it's just the whole thing about 6AI Technologies too, which is based on my applied intelligence IP. It's just a functional way to think in order to learn how to win.
All right. I'm going to ask you this and we'll get into the main crux of our conversation.
Yeah, no problem.
Yesterday, I was at this Black Future event.
Yes.
And like piles of people that look like us.
Yeah.
If you had a message to the attendees, what would you have told them?
I can't even straighten my shirt, so
that's okay. Take your time.
I don't even know. I didn't even know. But anyways, my wife bought me this shirt, so I'm
okay. There you go.
I gotta wear it. Yeah. So you know what? I know this event. I was actually invited to this event last year, and my thing is, look, at the end of the day, if you're in technology and you're looking for jobs, great. However, for me, and this is my view of the universe, for me, it's the wrong thing. I think we in order to create wealth, okay, can't be an employee, and you can't have your vision of a world of creating wealth in your community just seeking a job, working for somebody or whatnot, right? Now, again, it's not a bad thing, but what I'm saying, if where we're looking to go, over the long term. We have all these things about intergenerational wealth and intergenerational opportunities. It doesn't come from becoming an employee. It becomes from taking risk and becoming an entrepreneur. So I went to that thing and I literally stayed 10 minutes. Couldn't take it.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
because everybody's there. Everybody's there trained, right? It's like a colonialized training to work to make you feel like, hey, if I have a job, working for a corporation as a Black person, I've achieved something. Okay, great. You have a job. That's fine. And I got no problem with that. Okay, I've worked for corporations in the past. All I'm saying, I think the intensity of the message being sent from that group, okay, is not conducive and is counterintuitive to entrepreneurial growth and wealth creation, right? What we need is more of an entrepreneurial mindset, because your mindset determines your future. Okay,
Right.
at the end of the day, it's how you think, right? But if you're thinking as an employee all your life, then we're going to become employees all our life and we're never going to achieve. So there's I just think there's just it's fine. I got no problem with it. Not everybody can be entrepreneurs, but for me, for the way I think and based on the fundamentals of of wealth creation,
The way the world works.
The way the
It
world
really
bingo.
works, right?
Bingo. The way the world works. So you can create and this is an excellent point, Dr. Vibe. You can create whatever reality you want. Okay, you can create anything you want and say, this is it. You can create it's not a reality, but you can create whatever way you think. But if that way you think or what you're doing doesn't actually match how the real world works, or doesn't actually match reality, or it's not confirmed in reality, you're just spinning, right? And ultimately you're going to have a life of suffering, because you're going to wonder, well, why is this working? Why isn't it working? Because you're trying to work outside of the real world, outside of reality. And whenever you separate yourself from reality, right, you're always going to have to go back to reality. And then you're going to get, like my boy Mike Tyson says, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face. So reality is going to come back and punch you in the face, and you're going to have to learn to deal with reality. So that group, again, I'm never one to try to tear anybody down, but for me, the way the real world works, I just think it's a little bit counterproductive.
Well, I am thinking about an old school song, Back to Life, Back to Reality.
Yes, reality. And I think you've made an excellent point. I mean, the world works. You have to understand in history. That's for me, why I read so much history, because all the answers that you're looking for, history is your best data, because you can have, when you read history, you can find comparisons to understand what is happening today, right? I mean, just as an example, even the Arab-Israeli conflict and what happened, October 7th. People think the world just started. I don't want to go into that, but that just started then. If you understand over the last 4,000 years of history, and you can contextualize, right? You can contextualize, how this comes about. And then you will have a different perspective and a different analysis on this, because you are bolstered by real factual information, not nonsense that you read on social media. So you have to be careful, because again, not trying to crap on social media, but if you live your life getting your information and think you're being educated by social media, no, you're actually miseducating yourself, because people don't understand this thing called cognitive algorithms, which is you don't think it works on you, but it works on you 100%. So you have to be consciously aware, okay, of the information gathering environment that you're in, and the negative effects of those environments. Ultimately, nothing surpasses reading and educating yourself via real source information and real authentic, empirically based knowledge.
Well, one of the things that's coming to my alleged mind you're talking about is that old book by Carter G. Wilson, The Miseducation of the Negro.
Yes, we've been miseducated. Yeah.
So let's get to some comments. We'll get into our conversation topic
Sure.
now, but a few more comments. Fitness IQ Cam says, not everyone can be an entrepreneur. We still need employees. And she also says, think focusing on building connections. All right. And then the Macmillan Group says, good morning, gentlemen. Most folks aren't ready for the critical thinking ability of Perry Douglas. So,
hey, Ray, what's up, man?
yeah, Ray's
good people.
Ray is the real deal, man.
Yeah,
Ray
Ray
is
is
the
good
real deal.
No,
All right,
but let me just respond to finance point.
fitness, yeah.
Fitness. Yeah. It's the mindset. You have a choice. Like I said clearly, I'm not trying to poo-poo on what they're doing. I said for me and for my mindset and for the way I think and for the agendas that Black people put in front of them, right? If you start with a mindset that not all people could be entrepreneurs, we need employees too. Well, that how you start your thinking is going to lead to where you end up, right? So critical raise, right? Thinking is the most important thing, because in the first stage of thinking, if you define the problem, or if you define your future based on, hey, not everybody can be entrepreneurs. We need employees. But what you're saying is that you don't want to take on the challenge of entrepreneurs, because what you're also saying, you become contradictory to yourself, because what you're saying now is that, hey, I want the wealth, right? I want the intergenerational wealth. But the factual reality is, if you want the intergenerational wealth, that requires entrepreneurship.
Not in being an employee.
Down that wealth, right? So you can't have that intergenerational wealth by being an employee. So before you say something, you need to understand how you think. Your mindset determines your future. And for me, I choose to think this way. We're all free to think the way we want, but don't get it mixed up. You can't, on the one hand, say you want intergenerational wealth and all this, and on the other hand, it's okay to be an employee, right?
All right. So that was appetizer. Now we're getting into the main course. So today, Barry wants to talk about Blacks needing to understand and act relative to how the real world works, or expect endless suffering. Time for Black people to get serious. So before we get to that, then there are two comments here. Mm-hmm. One of the comments was based on the election. Mignon Cam says they want America white, pale, and stale. And then your good colleague and a gentleman, I got to get on you. I've never had him on this unless it's been a long time. Andrew.
Oh, Mr. Bromfield.
It says, good morning, gentlemen. What are we really afraid of respect to the 45th? He's now the 45th and 47th president. All I ever hear from environment is fear, never courage, fight, or unity. So maybe you want to take those two together, and then as part of precursor to that big conversation.
I think Andrew's absolutely right. I had a conversation. My daughter, I have 3 kids. One of my youngest daughter is still in university at McGill, and she was like watching the election that night, right? So at a certain point in time, I said, "It's over, go to bed." And so the next day we spoke, and I said, don't put any energy into what's happening in the United States. I said, one of the things I do, and I try to teach my kids to do, is to practice stoicism, stoic wisdom, which says, essentially, don't put energy into things beyond your control or you can't control. All that does is create anxiety and fear. So I said, I work to put my family in a situation where it doesn't matter who's president, doesn't matter who's prime minister. They can't affect me, because I'm putting myself in a position, I'm using my knowledge, I'm putting myself in the position, financially, in order to control my own destiny. So I don't really care what happens with Trump or even in Canada. I'm agnostic to parties. So I said to her, you focus on your classes, you focus on what you have to do, you focus on putting yourself when you graduate and you go on in a position where nobody can affect you. So I think what Andrew is saying is correct. Enough with the complaining, enough with the whining, okay? Enough with, Donald Trump is going to do this and Donald Trump is going to do that. Donald Trump showed us who we are. Donald Trump is a reflection not only of America, he's a reflection of the broader global community in regards to democracy, and all that. But at the end of the day, the question is, by complaining, all you're doing is you're expending energy in a situation you can't control. What you have to do is control your environment, control your world, your family, make sure everybody is good, and work towards a particular goal. So at the end of the day, Andrew's right. Courage is the underlying ingredient for success. If you don't have courage, okay, you're not going to win, and you're not going to make it in this world, because it's clear where the Republican Party and where the world is going. It's clear. If like Donald Trump had to be elected again for you to realize that Donald Trump is a reflection of the world, and the world is about power. Okay, this
Economic
is not a morality play. It's not a morality play. It's a power play. So you can sit there and whine and complain and this or I don't choose to do that. This is not how my parents grew me up. This is not how my grandparents instilled instilled things in us in our family. Okay, so I'm not part of that crowd. You have to have courage. If you don't, was it Biggie? You better ask somebody. So,
Some comments here, as always, when Perry is on, the comments fly in. So Mignon Cam says, living in reality is something I see in the disability community have a hard time accepting. They spend all their energy waiting on the government to lift them out of poverty. Fitness IQ Cam says, I think everyone should be either an employee or self-employed and or business, but always include investor, which is an important. Again, I said at the beginning of today's show, when 45 got elected, the stock market went sky high. Even his own company, DJ2, which is a terribly doesn't offer anything, went sky high. But she also says, by understanding the mindset, she said, Binyan Cam says, I've learned some people with disabilities also complain jobs won't hire them, but they never stop to create a business plan. Dr. Tati says, good morning, all. And also the Macmillan Group says, great advice. Stop investing time in things we don't have the ability to change. You have to be selfish to get to the destination you create for yourself and your family.
Yep.
So I want to ask, what is your central message behind the statement that Black people must understand and act relative to how the real works or expect mindless suffering?
So at the end of the day, we only live in, we have one world. Okay, there's not another alternative universe. There's one world, and how the world works has been the same since time immemorial, right? So if you go back in history, you will see multiple times and multiple different people. Everything has been about power, conquest, and force. So we have a reality that exists. When we try to create, for example, after George Floyd, right? A lot of organizations, and I've been saying this for the longest time, I'm consistent. A lot of organizations came up, and everybody, this government, and this is really what I put in my article, all these organizations came up, supported by the government, given money and all that. And what they've done is they've hijacked authentic entrepreneurship and made it like something like, oh yeah, everybody can do this. Everybody can do it. Made it like, oh yeah, everybody gets a medal. That's not how it works. Okay. The real world works. If you want to acquire wealth, you have to become an entrepreneur. There's no organization. There's no boot camp. There's no nothing that's going to tell you how to succeed. If it was that easy, everybody would be rich. So just like the regular community, you got to go out there and you got to figure it out, and you got to make it happen, and you got to hustle. And guess what? Newsflash. Yes, being black being black, okay, in the broader world, of course it's a disadvantage. Nobody's denying racism. But if you have that in back of your mind, you're done. Right? You are done. I've never had that in the back of my mind. So there's only one reality. And if you try to do things outside of reality, okay, reality will prevail. I'll put it to you this way. All things in the universe and how you live your life is based on a philosophy, is based on certain philosophy. So you can go back to Aristotle, Plato, Immanuel Kant, Descartes. All those guys talked about, your existence in the world and how you move forward, rational thinking, and how you succeed. Those are all philosophies. But the other thing, which is how my applied intelligence, model works, you have to have a philosophy, but you have to back it up with mathematics, because mathematics is math. Math tells you, explains the universe, everything. So you can look at it this way. You can have your philosophy, you can have your ideas, but if it's not backed up by mathematics, which really means how the world works, then you're engaged in fantasy. So we put too much time and effort into trying to deal with things outside reality, and what that leads to, it leads to endless suffering, right? But the people who understand reality end up winning. So enough with the alternative universe we're trying to create, enough with the safe spaces we're trying to create. Okay, focus on your growth, focus on your wealth creation, focus on doing that for your family. And if everybody's focusing on that, we need to just stop talking and start doing. And it's a long-term thing. You got to think 25, 30, 100 years down the road. It's like investing. It's a long-term venture.
Long-term play.
Long-term play. It doesn't happen overnight. Marcus Garvey said that, how many, over 100 years ago or something, right? But it seems like since Garvey and people like that, we've gone backwards. We've become a community, of just complaining all the time. Okay, complaining. My mother didn't complain. Okay, she did what she had to do, and she made sure her kids were educated, so we can compete in the universe. If you don't put yourself in a competitive position, you're gonna lose. That's reality. So you can create any type of story you want, but at the end of the day, reality prevails.
All right.
Right?
Good stuff. Hayton Morrison says the notion that everyone can be an entrepreneur is a fallacy.
Yeah, but nobody's saying that.
Yeah,
nobody's
everyone comes with different abilities.
Nobody's saying, when people say these things, right? These are excuses, and people have selective hearing. Okay, so people have selective hearing. They hear what they want, and they internalize it based on their point of view. Okay, what I'm saying, be clear. Okay, a mindset. I'm saying if you're coming out there and talking about intergenerational wealth and opportunity and power, well, that doesn't come from being an employee. That comes from owning real businesses and investing. That's what I'm saying. So that's the correlation to that.
Yeah.
I
don't think he's disagreeing with you. I think that he's agreeing with you saying that. And he said, and he added on, know your abilities and maximize them. Minion Cam says, yeah, the participation trophy generation. Right? Next conversation piece. What do you believe are the most significant challenges facing Black people in the 21st century, both globally and in Canada?
Listen, one of the things I always understand, right? What I like to say, I don't have all the answers. And to that, I don't have a magic answer. But what I can tell you is that nothing ever changes. It's the same thing. If you're a black, I speak as a black man. If you're a black man, okay, make sure, you've educated yourself, you put yourself in a position, okay? I believe in the institution of marriage. I believe in not having, baby mamas and all that kind of things. I believe in personal responsibility, and I believe in giving your children the best opportunity to succeed. If you do those things, you will become naturally competitive in the universe, right? If you do those things. So it's not because you're black or white or whatnot. It's just how you think. If you push yourself and you do everything that you can to put yourself in a position, okay, and it doesn't matter if you're an entrepreneur or if you have a normal job, but you're doing everything you can for your family, and you're doing everything you can to educate your kids and give your kids an opportunity to be in the best position they can. That's how you become competitive in the universe. And once you can become competitive in the universe, you become what I call anti-fragile. Right now, a lot of blacks, particularly black men, are fragile, always making excuses, always saying this. When you become anti-fragile, even if you've had struggle, even if you had trauma, those things, you use those things as fuel, learning experiences, okay, to move forward in the world. You don't use that trauma, you don't use those negative experiences to say, oh my God, because the thing about white supremacy, it preys on distracting you from what you have to do, right? It preys on distract you from what you have to do. It takes you away from being focused. Human nature hasn't changed in any century and in any period. So if you do what you're supposed to do and make yourself competitive, make your family, make your kids competitive, give your kids opportunities, that's all you can do, because there is no magic sauce. When you find a magic sauce, I'll buy a bottle of that.
Okay. Yeah, buy some, but maybe Ray Williams has a bottle of that to sell.
Oh yeah, he has lots of bottles of that. That's for sure. He actually at the food court thing that he does every year, there was like over 600 bottles of pepper sauce.
Yeah,
give it away.
Well, we had him on recently, and I think he talked about that event. He said how all those bottles just like bang, bang, bang. They just
man, they're great. Grenadian, man. Shout out to my Grenadian brother.
So Mignon Cam says you can be naturally competitive without having children. She also says, I don't need to pop out children to be competitive. Andrew says, this is how big tech controlled the White House. And Mr. Elon Musk now,
100%.
I think he's 100%. More powerful than than 45. I don't say the name, right? He leveraged and Andrew, you got to come on, but he says there will now be major advances in crypto and AI that will change the composition. I need that comment back up, please. That will change the composition of workforce. What will be left behind if the mindset does not change? And I want to keep that comment up too. A lot of people don't understand that during the campaign, 45, who's now 47, got major support from AI and especially crypto companies, because 100%. The current administration was pushing back on crypto companies, and 45, 47 said, no. If I get in power, we're going to fire the gentleman that's in charge of that department federally, and you guys will be up. Bam.
That's how it works. That's how it works. This is what I'm trying to tell people. What Elon Musk is doing is Elon Musk doesn't give a crap about Donald Trump. He just gives a crap about his business and power.
Yeah.
Right? And that's how the world works. So if these billionaires are supporting Trump, they're going to get what they want. This is what I'm saying. And I'm working in the tech space to also build $1 billion business, because when I build $1 billion business, okay, I'll be able to use my capital and influence to gain power. That's how it works. People don't understand. Okay, there's a whole network that runs the world.
Absolutely.
Okay, there's a whole network that runs the world,
and we don't see them.
We don't see them, but your life is controlled by them. And we can talk about all these things we're doing, DEI and da. It's meaningless, because there's a sector of the population, which is capital, which runs the world. And if you're not in that game, you're out of that game. So for example, I'm going to go back to when, for example, that woman from Harvard, that black woman from Harvard was president. Why was she released? Why was she fired? Okay, because the big donors of Harvard, with given billions of dollars, said, okay, we want her out. Harvard knows it needs that big money, so she's gone. Now, if there were at least a few black billionaires who can counter, okay, then maybe it would have been different. Money rules the world. Bullshit runs the marathon. You know what I'm saying? So like when I hear people with all these views, like even now, like people with all these views and these opinions, I mean, I don't give any energy to that because they don't understand how the real world works, as you said before, Dr. Vibe. They don't understand how the real world works. They don't understand how power works. The world is about power, nothing else. Either you have it or you don't, or you're in pursuit of it relative to your own situation in order to live the life you want, as opposed to the life society is dictating to you. That's how it goes.
Dr. Tachi has a question for you. What are your suggestions for Black people to deal with trauma? I think sometimes the realization that trauma exists and affects our behavior is not present.
Look, you got to get over your trauma. The problem is, right, when I hear this thing about trauma, okay, and if you go through from a neuroscience perspective, your trauma can dictate your future. So you have to deal with it, but you have to get over it. Because what happens is people always say, oh, we have to deal with our trauma, deal with trauma. Okay, you're dealing with your trauma for an entire lifetime and you never get over it. So I'm not a mental health expert, but I do have some experience, dealing with some of this stuff. You have to get over your trauma. You have to deal with it. Whether you got to go to talk therapy or whatnot, get over your trauma, because the longer your trauma lingers, your trauma will dictate your mindset. Okay, because you have to understand 95%, okay, of your thoughts come in your subconscious. So if you are not bringing your thoughts to consciousness, and look, scientists still don't know how consciousness and subconsciousness go back and forth. We know very little about the human brain. But what we do know from a commonsensical perspective, right, is that if you don't deal with your problems, they're going to linger, right? And it's going to affect the way you think and feel, right? So we think a lot with our emotions and our biology, right? And how we feel. So if that trauma is affecting you, you got to deal with it and then move forward, because it will control you, right? But we can't stay stuck in it for the rest of our lives.
Okay. Mignon Camp says, Dr. Tachi, and that trauma lives in the body and is passed on to the next generation. The Macmillan Group says, the fragility of a lot of Black men has them functioning with a high level of emotion and not allowing them to be logical thinkers. Many have to repurpose their minds and thinking. Dr. Tachi says, at Mignon Cam, yes, epigenetics. Andrew says, J.D. Vance is a Silicon Valley insider. Peter Thiel bankrolls him. Thiel is Musk's former co-founder at PayPal. And then J.J. Marr says, follow the money. So listen, right up. Go ahead.
Listen, this is follow the money, right? And one of the things that happens in the Black community too, right, is that we talk a lot, we want intergenerational wealth, but we don't invest. We don't invest in each other. We talk about, coming together, let's have this, and one of the most pathetic things is all these organizations, they have all these award shows, galas to pat themselves in the back. For what have you done? What have you done so wonderfully to pat yourself in the back and give yourself award? They create award shows to give themselves awards for achieving nothing, right? But what we don't do is we don't invest. So for my situation, you look at the situation, you say to a Black person, here's the investment, here's what it is. Oh no, they won't invest. So you end up now, which is fine for me, you end up with dealing, as you call it, with non-melanated people, because they understand money and they invest. So the problem that we have is we talk. It's a talk shop. It's like a flipping rum shop, right? Stop talking. I don't want to hear any more talking. Start doing. Like we are a community of people who talk and don't do. Okay, we need to do. If you want wealth, you got to invest. There's no two way about it. You have to be an entrepreneur. Okay, this is how other communities come to Canada and surpass us, because they and have their own businesses and do these things while we're sitting here waiting on government grants. Okay, that now, as my article says, it's done. So all that money that and if you look at that program, a lot of that money has been squandered. Okay, that's a whole other situation there. You cannot depend and wait on government. You have to invest in yourself, and you have to invest in each other. Okay, if you don't invest in yourself and you don't invest in each other, we're not going to get anywhere. So we need to, what I like to say to people, I say to my kids, I don't want to hear it. I want to see it. Because only when you have action are you starting to do something. And when you have action, it gains confidence. And the more confidence you gain, you can see, hey, I can do this too. And you move forward. But the alternative universe, safe spaces, there is no safe space in the universe. Everything comes back to reality in the end. So that's
all right. Perry is on fire and the comments are on fire. So let's catch up. So JG Mar says, just follow the money, and says money trail. Scott Gree says, Perry is correct. Most Gen X West Indian men are weak betas whose greatest achievement is to be valued by his so-called oppressors.
100%.
Mignon Cam says, yeah, rewrite the neuroplasticity. Andrew Bromfield says 100% about the fragility, raised right. Shirley says, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Shirley. Hope you're doing well. And also says, well said, sir. And then and then Mignon Cam says, galas are the award presentation trophies in formal attire serving chicken or fish.
I like that one. I like that one.
And then, okay, we lost. I had Andrew's comment, and then he had a question, and it disappeared. So let me see if I can. Okay, Andrew says, who actually invested in Ryan Knight on Dragon's Den again? A non-melanated person.
Oh, really?
Yes, the gentleman who founded 1-800-JUNK.
Wow. So it wasn't our friend there.
No, he said no, Ryan, that you have a better investor for you with this channel.
He just wanted to show everybody his red Ferrari. That's basically it.
Ouch! I didn't go. I didn't.
Hey,
oh boy.
Hey, when you invite me on, you know.
Yeah, I know. All right, brother.
Yep.
You smashed it out of the park this morning. I'm telling you. That's any final thoughts for our audience today, our family?
No, man. Let's just go out there and do it. Don't stress about Trump or whatnot. Focus all your energy on what you can control. Be a stoic. Apply some stoic wisdom. Focus all the energy on what you can control, and don't get distracted with things that you can't control. Yeah. And if you do that, I think your results are going to be significantly better.
And think long term, not short.
And think long term.
Yes.
Yeah, this is not. Yes.
Because it took many of us many years to get to where it's not an overnight success.
Listen, man, you got to think long term. Don't cut corners.
100%.
It is a long term thing. And I say, I most likely won't see the benefits. Okay, I'll be long gone. I won't see the benefits. But if I do what I have to do now to help lay the foundation, my children and my grandchildren and so forth, all I want is that I want to leave a legacy. Okay, but I want to leave a legacy not about talking about it. I want to leave a legacy about doing it. And on that note, actually, I have another book coming, hopefully in 2025. Oh, yeah, it'll be. I learned a lot from my first book, but it'll be relative to what we're doing, and it'll be more focused for the general public as opposed to from a Caribbean perspective. But
nice.
Yeah, so I'm just doing my thing, man.
Looking forward to it. So Ray says, excuse me, great convo as usual. Love the insight and perspectives you share, Perry.
Thank you.
Frequency event promotion goes, have a great weekend, everyone, and all. Keep up the great work, Dr. Vibe and Perry Douglas. Well, it's not hard work, it's heart work.
That's right.
All right. And one of the things someone told me a long time ago, it says, where the mind goes, the person follows.
I got no words after that.
Okay. All right, my brother, as always, thank you very much for taking the time and bringing the energy.
Okay.
If there's anything that I can potentially do, don't be afraid to ask. I can't do everything, but I'll try my best. And if I
Hey,
can't do
man.
it, there's other people. But I do the
100%.
little I can with at least getting you to share your perspectives.
And that's all. Listen, that's
Thank you.
all is
Appreciate it.
required. Do what you can do. Right? That's it.
As
All right,
always,
man. Much love. We'll talk later.
yeah, don't just manage your time, manage your energy, and remember to give yourself grace.
100%, man. All
Peace.
the best. Have a good weekend.
Take care. All right. That is Perry Douglas and family. Did he not rock the house? Did he not rock the house? Hello, hello, hello. That was epic. So thanks for everyone who spent most of the time on this conversation. So appreciate it, not taken for granted. So as we wrap it up today, as always, subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show, especially on our YouTube platform. Want to hit 1,590 subscribers, so we're getting close to 1,600. Yay, yay, yay. And share it out. Tell people about it. And then like the Dr. Vibe Show on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram to advertise your business, product, or service on any of the platforms that I'm a part of. Please email me at dr.vibe@vibeshow.com. Join the Morning Vibe Discord group at dr.vibe@vibeshow.com. Coming up on this Monday show, Karen and Nicole, we talking about consistency. So learning the tools to make healthy eating, exercise, and lifestyle habits a permanent way of life. And I'll be learning and taking digital and mental notes on this because that's something I'm having a challenge with. All right? 100%. Got another message here. Fitness IQ, what a conversation. Right? That was an epic conversation. As we say, Dr. Vibe, the home of Epic Conversations, and I'm the host of Epic Conversations. So as always, if you want to touch base with Ryan Knight, website, RyanO'NeillKnight.com, LinkedIn, Ryan O'Neill Knight, Instagram, @Ryan.Knight, and then the Knight is KNIGHT, by the way. So that's Ryan.Knight99. Email, workwithme@RyanO'NeillKnight.com. Myself, you want to get in touch with me, website, the DRVIBESHOW.com, YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn, The Dr. Vibe Show, Instagram @The Dr. Vibe Show, X/Twitter @DRVIBESHOW, and email dr.vibe@the DRVIBESHOW.com. So as always, you can catch replays of this epic conversation on The Dr. Vibe Show, YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn, Ryan O'Neill Knight on YouTube, and Afro-Caribbean Business Network on Facebook. So that's it. Epic today, family. So as always, we finish off with this. Live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get small to get stronger. Block assumptions and aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Love, faith, and respect. And remember, as always, don't just manage your time, manage your energy, and remember to give yourself grace. God bless. Peace to you all. Keep the faith. Walk good. And we'll see you on the Morning Vibe coming up on Monday. And if you're around tomorrow night, primetime Saturday with Isha and Lala. And we also have a Black Canadian King, Cesar Nadima Musa. They're going to be talking about the aftermath of this election. God bless. Peace to you all. Keep the faith and walk good.